Hey folks, welcome back to the Edupedia world, and I am Abhinay Gupta. And today again we will continue with the prevention of oppression and mismanagement. Yes, but indeed this is gonna be a final last class on this lecture, right? As I said in the previous lecture also, but it's the same topic that we are continuing. The topic went a little longer than expected, right? But we'll wind up the chapter today and then move on to the next. As I think I have been receiving heavy demand on the SEBI chapter, right? So I'll go ahead with ICDR and those sections, so those acts that relates to the security exchange, right? The SEBI. Okay, so we'll be discussing all the facts over there. So stay tuned. Next coming up is the lengthy chapter of SEBI, which most of you do not prepare for your examination. Is it a fact? Right? Yeah, it's not just a recent trend. This is going on forever. Right? If you ask somebody who cleared their CA 10 years back also, they did not prepare for SEBI very well. It's a lengthy chapter. Plus, it is very technical. There are a lot of things you need to remember. Right? What is green shoe option? What? Right? So let's keep that aside as of now. But yeah, next chapter coming up is SEBI. Okay, so be prepared for that. Now let's complete with this chapter, the prevention of oppression and mismanagement. The section that we were continuing was the appointment of directors by CG, the central government, section 408. Right? We have seen the effect of 408. We have seen the application is to be made to the company law board, the central government by the members, right? And then the company law board will set up an inquiry and then decide whether appointment of additional directors, that is the nominee directors or staff, are required. If required, then they direct the central government to appoint the nominee director, or else they also may ask the company to go via the method of preferential allotment of proportional representation, and via that they appoint a director. And if they are taking some time in that, so to fill up that time gap, they will ask the central government to fill up that time gap by appointing somebody for that time frame. Now we move ahead. The next thing that we need to see is the provisions that are applicable to those nominee directors who are now appointed. There are certain nominee directors appointed, right? Now what are the provisions that will be applicable on those nominee directors? Will everything remain the same like any other director, or will there be something new? Yeah, as you can see on the screen, there will be a general rule applicable to the nominee directors as well, which is applicable on ordinary directors. If I talk about the capacity of both the directors, it is going to be the same, right? Neither will the other directors superpower the nominee directors, nor can the nominee directors superpower the other director. They are all in the same position. They are all the directors of the company, holding equal power. But still there are certain exceptions that take place over there, right? So what are those exceptions? Number one is that they are ignored in reckoning the majority, right? So there are proportions, right? 1/3 majority, 2/3 majority. So when you are calculating that, you will not include the nominee directors over there. They will not form part of that majority. So anywhere where you're reckoning the 2/3 provision, the 2/3 proportion, right? Then any director who is appointed by the central government shall not be taken into account. And remember, we're talking about nominee directors. We are not talking about the additional directors who are appointed by proportional representation. They will be included. Small, minute things that you need to check on, right? You remember, right? The CLB can get directors placed in the board of the company via two methods. One, they can say the central government to go and appoint a nominee director, or they can order the company to appoint an additional director via proportional representation. So, but here when we are talking about the nominee director specifically. We are not discussing about the additional director. They are the same. The company is appointing them. For the nominee directors, they don't even require to take up the qualification share. Remember, right? There is certain value, certain amount, 5,000 something, 10,000, whatever be the amount set up by any company, the base is set. Those number of qualification shares have to be taken by the directors, right? But for nominee directors, no such provision exists. So they can hold that position as a nominee director even without subscribing for any qualification share of the company. Right? Now there's another concept of rotation of directors. Remember section 255 and 256? The section that deals with the rotation of directors? That rotational concept will not apply on the nominee directors at all. No, so the nominee directors, they are not bound to retire by rotation of the company, right? So how do they retire? They don't. They will be removed from the office by the central government when the central government thinks that they are no more required. So it's the discretion of the central government. So section 284 shall not apply to them, which is the removal of directors. Any vacancy which arises in the office of these directors by any cause, maybe death or anything, something happens, any mishap takes place and then the office stands vacant. What do you do with that office? Again, the same office will be filled up by the same person who appointed the previous one. That means the central government. Nothing changes. That position was supposed to be filled up by the central government initially also and now also. Now, monitoring by the central government is another concept. Right? The central government may require these directors, the nominee directors whom they have placed into the board of the company, to report to the central government with regards to what is happening in the company. So these nominee directors will keep on informing the central government that whether or not the situations are improving, what are the affairs of the company, what is the company doing on day-to-day basis. Other provisions. No change in the board of directors. So if you want to change, if you want to apply any change in the board of directors, right, you'll have to go and ask company law board first. If they allow, you can go ahead with a change in the board of director. Right? So even where a central government appoints a director or an additional director under section 408, then no change in that board of directors shall have any effect so long as the directors or additional directors appointed by central government remain in office. You have to take permission of CLB is one thing, but till when are you supposed to do this is till the time these directors are there in the office. Once they have been withdrawn, once central government thinks that yes, the operation of the company is going on very well as it was supposed to go, they withdraw the directors back and then the company is good to go on their own. But till the time these directors are there, if you are making any amendment in your board, right, you will have to take approval from the company law board. Issue of directions by CG. Yes, central government issuing direction to their nominee directors to act inside the board of the company. Right? So yes, even for this, section 408 empowers the central government to do so. What are the directions? That the existing auditor of the company should be removed. You can remove the existing auditor and then appoint some other auditor in his place. This direction will be given by whom? By CG. So if CG wants, CG will get the auditor removed. That is the power conferred upon the central government by section 408 of the Act. Now, if there is any alteration that they want in the article of the company, right, then even the article will be amended as per the direction of the central government. And all these things that they do, right, either removal of the auditor, amendment of the article, this will have the same effect that it would have had if they were going through the normal provisions, that is by passing those resolutions and stuff. Right? So what effect that resolution would have had in the normal course of business, the same effect the order of the central government is going to have in the special case of business. Getting the point? All logical or reasonable? Right? Always remember section 408 is not only applicable on public companies. When we talk about central government and stuff, don't consider that it's public company where it's applicable. It's applicable both on public and private. Right? And this section has an overriding effect on everything. It gives overriding power to the central government to nominate the directors to prevent the operation and mismanagement. So nothing will come in between. So this section is so powerful and empowers CG also to some extent. One more thing that the section specifies, that okay, we are allowing central government to take charge. We are allowing central government to interfere via a nominee director. We are giving a superpower to central government, right, and overriding power. But that does not mean that the central government will take advantage. It does not contemplate a takeover of the management of the company by the central government, right? You are asked to add on an additional director, that is a nominee director, but you cannot remove the directors who are already there. The directors who are there will continue in the office as directors, right, along with the directors that are appointed by the central government, and they'll have no overriding powers over the directors who are existing, because all the directors are same. Neither will they be overpowered, neither will these be overpowered. All the directors who are there have the same capacity. But if you look at the change in the board of directors, right, via the shareholders, they try appointing and removing some people into the board and filling up the casual vacancy and stuff things are going on, that would require a confirmation from the company law board. That is another restriction given. So this section 408 does not authorize the central government to carry on the business of the company or to interfere into day-to-day management. Obviously, the nominee directors will send in the report about the affairs of the company, but the central government will not interfere as to how it should be done and what should be done. They are just concerned that whatever led to operational mismanagement, those things have been settled and curbed. Understand? Now we move on to the next section, which is power of the company law board to prevent change in the board. This is section 409. So what is the power conferred upon the company law board? How can they prevent the change that is going to occur in the board of directors? So basically this section, it was introduced because it seeks to prevent abrupt changes in the management of the company. So there may be a lot of financiers who try to take over shares and take the control of companies which are performing really well. Well-run companies should not pass on to the hands of these unscrupulous and ambitious financiers. So this is the reason why Section 409 actually came into place. There are certain companies that are well managed, they are going very well. Now these financiers, they take advantage and route it to their personal gains. So however, if a person competing to manage the company acquires the share of the company law board would not ordinarily invoke its power. Now let us see the provisions and then we'll understand what it is. So who can make a complaint? If you don't want a change in the board, somebody will come and complain, right? Who can make that complaint? The complaint can be done by any managing director, any other director, any manager of the company. Now, if I again relate back to what I said, this section 409 is in so that the financiers don't take advantage of the company. That they take up the shares and they direct the board and they get the good running companies to benefit them personally. That is wrong, right? So to prevent that, members will not come to CLB because the finances of the members, right? They will not come to CLB. Who will come? The board, right? So it is evident from these three listings that who's gonna come is the managing director, other directors, or the manager. That means it is evident that the benefit of 409 is not available to the members of the company, right? Now, what are the nature of complaint that they can come up with, right? So the complaint can state that there is a change in the ownership of the shares which are held by the company. So there may be major financiers who are trying to pull in a lot of fund into the company and buy out the shares. So when they are buying out the shares and getting into the majority position, that may further impact, that may impact and result into the change in the board of directors as well, right? And plus, if that change is allowed, it would affect prejudicially to the affairs of the company. So do you see the chain reaction? They predict the board of directors, they're smart people, right? When they see somebody taking over the shares and taking the control of the company, they raise an alarm to the company law board. That listen, see, we see this person taking up the shares of the company. Very unscrupulous person, very ambitious person. He wanted us also to route the funds to his personal gain. Now, when he has the majority shares and we are not supporting him, what will he do is he'll change the board, the proportion of the board. Then what will happen is that he will direct the company for his benefit and that will be prejudicial to the interest of the public. So somebody is raising that alarm. Somebody is complaining to CLB about that. Right? Then what is the power of the company law board in that case? The company law board again will come up to make an inquiry. Whatever these people are saying, whatever they're complaining, is that true? Right? If that company law board is satisfied that yes, they are true and it is just and proper to do so, then they may take action. What action? They may direct that any resolution which is passed or any resolution that is going to be passed or any action that has already been taken or any action that is going to be taken, that may be taken, which will affect the change in the board of directors shall not have any effect unless it is confirmed from the CLB. So CLB went into an inquiry and found out, no, what these board of directors are saying is somewhere correct. I don't say I will not give power to that person. No, you have pulled in money, you have all the power. You do what you want to do. But when you're doing it, When you have taken an action or passed a resolution or gonna pass a resolution, gonna take an action, please confirm your actions with CLP. So we don't give you a blanket power to go and do anything with the company. You do, not a problem. But if there is something mischief you're gonna do, if there is any unscrupulous practice that you're gonna take place, company law board will restrict you. So what company law board did is filtered the power. Whatever goes down to the board, it will go through the company law board. Right? So what will be the effect of this order? The order of the company law board shall have an effect notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in any other provision of the act. Right? So understand, company law board has always been given a lot of power. We have seen in the previous sections as well. Right? So over here also, nothing written in the article, nothing in the memorandum, nothing in the act is going to stop the company law board. So whatever they do, it will be notwithstanding anything contrary to that. Over here also you have a concept of interim order. So until the entire inquiry is complete, the company law board still thinks that okay, before by the time I'm doing that inquiry, something bad will happen. So let me give an interim order. So they'll give an interim order and continue with the inquiry. Once it is completed, they'll give a final order. Right? Always remember, this will not apply to a private company. Is it logical? Yes, it is. A private company, the ownership is very limited. Right? It is not a public issue, or it's not a well-maintained company that somebody comes and takes over the shares and then routes it for their purpose. If they're doing it, then they're private people who are selling it. Then let them. It was my company. I sold the company to someone else, so it's no more my company, right? Understanding that point? That is exactly what I want to say. Getting? That's all. So that's all about the chapter. I think now you have a very clear understanding on the concept of operation and mismanagement. What is operation? What is mismanagement? What leads to operation? What leads to mismanagement? What are the precautions for that? Who are entitled to save? What are the powers given to them? Right? What are the different cases? What is the majority rule? Can even the majority claim? Yes, all these things we have discussed. Right? So theoretically, the entire chapter is done. Right? I'm not going to specify what is important for examination, what is not, as I've already given a disclaimer in previous lectures that I am not preparing you from exams point of view, because getting those marks, getting those degree is not my concern for you. My concern is wherever any one of you is stuck on any particular topic that you don't understand, I give you an understanding of the same. Right? So just understand that whatever clauses have to be mugged up, mug it up. Have a clear logic, connect the dots, and be ready as a lawyer for this, as a company lawyer, corporate lawyer for this. Right? Because when you get case studies in the examinations, what are you supposed to do? You're not going to quote the section, right? Yeah, you have to. In the second paragraph, you have to write those things also. But unless and until you have an understanding, how do you catch the catch in the question? How do you know what is the catch in the question? For that, you need an understanding. Right? You cannot just read the book and find the catch. You need to know the background as well. So that is why what I tried is to give you in the simplest language an understanding of the topic. So that when you look at your questions and you imagine that scenario, you can relate what is happening and what should have happened. So those time provisions will not help and understanding will help. And I hope my lectures are helping you out with that understanding. Right? So a lot of chapters in law has already been covered. There are few chapters and I have been receiving requests for a very few of them, like SEBI and stuff. Right? So I'll get back to SEBI. So after this is done, appointment of managerial personnel is one chapter that has already started and will again end in a couple of days, 1 or 2 days, right? And then we'll start and give an entire week. We'll give some time, like good some 10 days to SEBI and complete it, right? You also have my lectures available in audit, so you can go and witness audit as well, right? So there are certain essays which are pending, certain professional ethic clauses which are pending. That will be done by the end of the month. So before this month ends, you will get all of them with you, right? So you'll be prepared for your examination. And once I compete with all the standards on auditing, and once I compete with the professional ethics also, if you realize or you don't, but 70% of your syllabus for audit is completed. 2 chapters have been done along with audit, right? Those chapter contains good marks, 12, 10 to 12, 15 marks are asked from that chapter, right? Your standards contain 30, 35, 40 marks, towards 52, 55, and PE will definitely hold at least 16 marks. So that is somewhere close to 70, right? So major portion of audit will also be completed before your examination. Law will definitely be completed before your examination, and you are prepared for that, right? Now next, I'm planning to take up an amendment class. So by the time you just go ahead with this, whatever are the new amendments, I'll highlight them in 1 or 2, 3 lectures consecutively, right? And along with that, what will I do is I'll take up a lecture of how to attend the answers in your examination. How do you attempt it? How do you write the answers? So all the best, guys. The chapter is done. Please go through your practice manual and stuff for this chapter to get another understanding. And after some time after syllabus is completed, I may choose to take up the practice manual as well and explain you the questions and answers that has been given over there. Okay. So I'll see you guys back in the next lecture with a new chapter. Until then, this is Abhinay Gupta signing off. Thank you and bye-bye.